Welcome back to Echoes of History, the place where the past speaks softly, but its consequences still shape our world today. In this episode, we uncover a war that never truly reached the battlefield, a conflict decided in silence, through intelligence, strategy, and secrets hidden from history. Before the first shot was fired, the outcome was already sealed. This is the war that was won before it began. Wars are usually remembered for their battles, for the bloodshed, for the moment when armies finally collide. But this story is different, because long before the first shot was fired, before the first soldier marched, this war was already over. The outcome was decided not on the battlefield, but in the shadows. History teaches us that power comes from weapons and numbers, from armies and strength. But sometimes, power comes from information, from preparation, from knowing your enemy better than they know themselves. And in the late 1930s, the world stood on the edge of a global conflict. Nations were rearming, borders were tightening, alliances were forming. A massive war was inevitable. But while the world focused on tanks and planes, a quiet battle was already being fought. Not with guns, but with messages and coded messages. One side believed its communications were unbreakable, protected by machines of steel and complexity. Every order, every strategy, every movement locked behind codes that no human could crack. But they were wrong. In secret rooms, mathematicians, linguists, and analysts worked tirelessly. Not soldiers, but minds. They listened, they studied, they learned, and slowly, the enemy's secrets began to unfold. By the time the war officially erupted, one side already knew where attacks would happen. They knew which convoys would move, which cities were targets, which plans would fail. Battles were avoided, ambushes were prepared, losses were minimized. To the outside world, it looked like luck. In reality, it was certainty. The war wasn't won with a single victory, it was won with knowledge. The truth couldn't be revealed. If the enemy knew their codes were broken, everything would change. So the secret was buried. Heroes received no recognition. Successes were explained away as coincidence. For decades, the world never knew how close it had come to disaster or how narrowly it was avoided. This war changed how conflicts are fought. It proved that information can be more powerful than weapons, that intelligence can decide outcomes before battles begin. Today, wars are still being fought in silence, in data, in signals. The battlefield has changed, but the lesson remains. We remember wars for how they end, but sometimes the most important victories happen before anyone notices the war has begun. No parade, no celebration, just a quiet truth, hidden in the shadows of history. This is the war that was won before it began. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more untold history, and come back for the next echo of the century.